Hello, everyone, and welcome to TV Literate, the podcast that unapologetically enjoys trashy TV. I'm Gillian.
And I'm Megan.
And it's episode 69!
69.
I'm so sorry if that was really loud.
It's fine. We had to say it, you know. It's just, it's a momentous occasion.
Yeah, the forbidden number in fundy circles, they just go straight from 68 to 70.
That's true. It's true. It's like, I think there are like fast food restaurants that have they don't have 69 as like an order number because of that, which is
You'd
kind of
sell
funny.
so much of that dish, though.
I know.
Just like put your cheapest to make, but most like biggest profit margin one, put that on 69.
There you go. Yeah. Perfect.
You're like, yeah, I got this beans and rice for $20. 69.
Yeah, but it was number 69. So, I mean, what was I gonna do? Not order it?
Exactly.
So, what have you been watching lately, Gillian?
I haven't been watching too much this week. It's spooky season, so we have started our movie fiestas.
Hell yes.
Last night we watched the Elvira movie Macabre, which had the movie The Manster.
Oh, I like that.
It was really bad, but that's
of
how
course.
it's always supposed to be.
Yeah.
But that was fun. And we watched this movie called No One Gets Out Alive. I think it's on Netflix. Really good.
Ooh,
very
okay.
Interesting.
I like the title.
Very much like His House or like Under the Shadow, where it's like kind of political, social commentary, but with like really fucking hardcore like horror at the end.
Hell yeah. Okay. That sounds like honestly like my perfect mix. So it's
Hell
fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good. And other than that, nothing much. We've been watching football. So
Oh, exciting.
So exciting. What have you been watching?
I haven't watched a ton either. I've been back into my Animal Crossing shit, so I watch a lot of like streams while I'm playing Animal Crossing, and it's fun and very relaxing. So I've been doing a lot of that. But Kyler and I have watched one thing together. We watched The Only Murders in the Building on Hulu.
Nice.
Well, we didn't finish it. We think we still have like 1 or 2 episodes left we haven't watched, and there's still, I think, 1 episode that hasn't been released yet. But I'm enjoying it a lot so far. Basically, it is about 3 people who all live in the same apartment building in New York, who are Steve Martin, who I fucking love, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. And they're just like, okay. And they all kind of bond over them loving the same true crime podcast. And then like something like a mysterious death happens in their building, and then they decide they want to make a podcast about it. So it's like,
oh my gosh.
It's like kind of like the perfect mixture of things, because it has Steve Martin and Martin Short, so it's a comedy. It's like very lighthearted, while still like having a lot of interesting commentary about like true crime and things like that in general too. So I've been enjoying it a lot, and so is Kyler, and he doesn't particularly like mysteries or crime related stuff, but it's funny.
Say anything. I was like, no.
Yeah, but this has been fun. So it's like really quick and easy and light, and like a good fall series to watch. So I recommend it.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about it, but I try and always wait for everything to come out.
Yeah,
all the episodes, so I can just binge it.
Yeah, definitely. I think next week, the last episode comes out.
That sounds about right. I think that's also the last episode of Plathville is next Tuesday.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Which actually leads us perfectly into our episode for this week. We are going to do our continuation with season 3 of Welcome to Plathville.
Welcome to Plathville. It's getting
dark,
depressing,
grim as fuck. God damn.
Yeah. Apparently Chris has been keeping up with the Plathville news while we haven't watched the show, and so now he's like spoiled what happens.
Oh no.
But like it's real human life, but yeah.
Yeah, don't spoil these people's lives for me, please.
I know, God, I don't want to go on their Instagram and find out.
I know, right? But yeah, I mean, let's just get right into it. So the first episode we're gonna talk about today is episode 4, called "I'm Gonna Lose My Mind." Mood.
Yep. Big mood. Huge mood. So we get a little blip in here of Micah going to meet his diction coach, which I wrote here as diction coast, which is really good.
Every time he says it, I always think he's saying addiction coach, and I'm first like, I missed a plot line here because what exactly is the problem here? Like, cool that you're getting help with it, but I missed something along the way.
What are you addicted to? Like, I don't know, man. Exercise?
Yeah, exercise.
That's all I can think that Micah does frequently.
Modeling.
Yeah, I'm addicted to modeling. Oh God. Okay. I did love in this part where he comes up to Brad, his diction coach, and he says, I don't think I have that strong of a Southern accent. And he's like, I don't think I have that strong of a Southern accent. And you're like,
like maybe not compared to some people who live around you, but like compared to the general population, you have a Southern accent, my dude.
A thick accent, my bud.
I mean, you can't help it. You're from Cairo, Georgia. Like, what are you gonna do?
Cairo.
It's only so much you can do.
We did kind of get a little tidbit, which made me a little sad. Where Micah was saying that when he first was like given the freedom of being like 16 and getting out of the house more, he said that he couldn't really understand the people who were talking around him because he never listened to like anybody other than his family talk.
Yeah, they were talking.
Like, holy shit!
Yeah, the diction coach was asking him like what other influences he's had on his life other than like the people around him, because most people, I mean, certainly heavily influenced by the people you live with, the people in your community, but also like television shows. Mm-hmm. Like I see all the time TikToks of little kids, like American kids, speaking in a British accent because of Peppa Pig, because they watch it all the time.
Peppa.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's normal that we have exposure to all these different dialects. But yeah, that's really says a lot about how sheltered they were.
Like how isolated they were. Like these people weren't even like Duggar level. They were just keeping everybody in the house. They weren't even taking them to church and shit.
Right. I guess at least with the Duggars, I mean, and I say this like, they like had done some traveling, seen some other areas and like interacted with other people, but the Plaths are just completely, it's just the farm.
Yeah, it's so wild because like with the Duggars and the Bates and everything, like you can send your kids to another family and have them experience somewhere else, like, within the church. Right. But because they don't really have a church, like they're just weird and traumatized and not really religious.
They're their own church.
Yeah, it's weird. And yeah, it was very depressing that I was like, fuck. Those kids really had like no one.
I know, it's really bleak.
Yeah. And it just gets more bleak from here. But.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, Micah, I liked watching this scene though. It was funny to watch him, and he does seem to be doing pretty good with like taking what the diction coach is telling him and like seeing the differences in how he like stretches words out and things like that. And I loved hearing him try to say K-Ro, not in his normal accent. He's like K-Ro.
K-Ro, Georgia.
It was funny.
Micah
Georgia he's a cutie. I love him.
I know, and he seems to actually be good at what he's chosen to do.
Yeah, he seems to like it and have really found something to do, which is great.
Yeah.
Happy for him.
Hell yeah.
I wish I could say the same for myself. I'm just kidding. This 20-year-old has it figured out more than I do.
Well, you kind of got to figure it out when you go it alone.
That's true. Yeah. So next up, we go over to the farm, and Kim has been working on a website, I guess, for the farm and trying to market it as a wedding venue, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know. Like, I still don't know. Like, maybe they just haven't ever watched this show, but all of the kids have watched this show, like how it got edited and whatever. Right. Like, they all watch it. Like, how can you still think that people are like, yes, I want to go to your child abuse house to go celebrate my marriage?
Yeah, I don't know of any, I just can't imagine anybody watching this show and being like, oh yeah, Kim, you make a lot of good points.
Yeah, like, I'm gonna go and have people throw rice on me while I walk down the driveway where you accidentally killed your child. Like, it's not a happy place.
Yeah, damn, fuck. But yeah, it's weird. I don't really know. I guess maybe desperate times call for desperate measures. I don't know. Who knows?
Airbnb wasn't working out.
Yeah. They kind of talk a little bit about like their internet rules and stuff, because Kim says they've never been a no-tech family, just a low-tech family. And I think that means, like, Barry and I can use the internet. Yeah. But the kids can't.
The kids have always seen us using things that they're not allowed to do.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. It felt like it was kind of a callback to season 1 where Mariah was like, you guys have left us at a disadvantage. Like, we don't even know how to use computers or anything. Yeah. And again, in this season where she's been setting up her computer to record her music.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like they have no idea what they're doing because they never grew up with it, and they're part of the age group that we grew up with it. We know, like, they're a lot of the Plaths are even younger than us, and so you would think that they, like, for us, I don't know, they've had it since they were really young kids. You know, like, computers all the time, whereas we had them like slowly more and more until we were like, you know, preteens or whatever. Yeah, but yeah, it's like these kids, all of their peers are going to know how to use computers and technology, and these are things that are going to be used in real world, in their jobs and everywhere. Like, computers are everywhere. Like I said before, just because you don't teach your kids how to use technology doesn't mean that they're not going to need to know it.
Exactly. And it just always feels like, again, the same thing as Duggars and Bates and everything. Like, the boys get so much leeway and the girls don't, because you know, Mariah can't set up her own MacBook, but upstairs Isaac has a full like flight simulator.
Right, definitely. Yeah. Really great. Really great.
Yeah. I don't know. Kim can't gaslight us. They didn't have tech when they were kids.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Ethan's 22. So he was born when we were like 8.
I know. I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting how fucking young they are. Like, I know. That just keeps fucking me up every time I think about how Ethan and Olivia are 22 and 23. Like, for some reason, like, always see them as like around my age, because like I'm also a recently newly married person like her. So it's like, I feel like we're in the same stage of life, but no, they're like almost a whole decade younger than us.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, they're going through some shit.
Yeah. Ethan and Olivia are doing lots of years of stress right now internally.
Yeah, for sure. So at this point, too, Kim and Lydia talk a little bit about the Lydia boy situation again, which keeps popping up. And I still am so confused about the situation, because Lydia seems to think it was her idea to stop talking with the dude. And it's pretty clear that it was at least heavily influenced by Kim and Barry. And which is whatever. But then, like, Kim keeps saying things like, you need to get to know somebody before you can, like, fully know.
But how the fuck do you get to know them then?
Yeah. And she keeps saying, like, in person. And it's like, okay, that's great. But, like, sometimes that's not feasible for a long time. And it's not like Lydia's, like, proposing to this dude or whatever, you know? It's like they're just talking and they are getting to know each other. You can get to know each other through text or whatever, you know?
Well, and there's this really amazing invention. I don't know if anyone's heard of it yet, but it's called video chat.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Like,
I hadn't even heard of it.
Real hard to fake who you are on video chat if you're talking to someone.
Just ask Max and Neve on Catfish. They can tell you.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I don't. So we get this other little tidbit too that before this, is Kim was talking about how Olivia taught her how to build her first blog, and that's right. Fucking, I don't know. It was weird. It just feels like Kim again being like, oh, well, she used to be nice.
Yeah, it's like, oh, and she always turns it into like, oh, I miss having like this whole family together, and it's like, well, you fucking ruined it. Like, also you have the power to maybe salvage it in some way, but you're not doing anything but pushing them farther away. So sorry, don't have a lot of sympathy for you.
Hell. Yep. Okay, sorry, back to Lydia and the boy.
Yeah.
I don't know, nothing much new.
Yeah, nothing really new. It's just, I still just like don't understand.
It just feels like Kim and Barry are just really fucking themselves over, like really shooting themselves in the foot. Like, they want Lydia to be friendly with them and not immediately leave like the other kids did. But then she's like, you can't talk to the person that you like. So Lydia's going to be at that door 18 immediately because she wants to go hang out with this dude. And she doesn't even
Yeah.
really want to be like separated from the family. Like she's not as in tune with what's been happening to her as like Mariah and Ethan and Micah. But like, she's going to leave. They're going to push her
Yeah.
out right away.
That's the thing is like, that's what I keep saying with Kim is she just keeps doing things that pushes her kids farther away and then acts like she's the victim in all of this, but she has control in like not doing these things and trying to, be an understanding and supportive mother, but it's not how she rolls.
Nope, she definitely just like falls over and says, the consequences of my own actions.
Yeah. Ugh, God, fuck. So back over with Ethan and Olivia, there's all kinds of little disagreements going on, including like the big like looming thing is whether or not they're going to move, when they're going to move, what the deal with that is. And like, I guess Olivia is kind of making preparations, packing things up, being like, okay, like we've got to start, doing stuff. And Ethan is like upset about that. And so they get into a huge argument and Ethan storms out and yeah.
Yep. And they basically just, it's all summed up with the one quote of, it's completely obvious that we aren't understanding each other.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
big time.
Big time. But during this time, Ethan goes over to Mariah's house to work on her computer, which is kind of what we were talking about earlier.
We learned that Ethan also works on copiers for a local dealer, so he has to do some computer stuff, which, again, probably would have been nice to learn those skills before on the job.
Could have helped, I'm sure.
Mariah knows that Ethan and Olivia are fighting, and she really tries to cheer Ethan up, but of course, Ethan's getting text messages from Olivia during this whole thing, and it's just...
Yeah. It's so sad, too, just, like, the huge difference in Ethan's demeanor this season compared to, like, the early seasons. Like, he's just so... sad. It's just so really sad. Really hard to watch.
Yeah, he only has two feelings and they're sad and mad.
Yep
That's too many. That's too much of bad
the wrong feelings. Yeah.
I also thought in this part, I was like, yeah, I do always forget that Ethan is still 22, like just having arguments over text message.
Yeah that kept coming up like over and over again. I kept reminding myself, holy shit, these are early 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
Which is it's just crazy that they've had to deal with so much. And honestly, like especially with Olivia, I'm just really impressed with her maturity. And how far she's had to come.
Yeah.
Like knowing what her upbringing was like. And so it's hard for me to like be like, yeah, these are 22 and 23-year-olds.
Yeah. Man. So then we get to a fun part.
Yay.
An actually fun part, but it always starts with Ethan having his grumps, but he gets out of his grumps.
He does. This was a good part. So Mariah, Max, and Micah are going roller skating with Ethan and Olivia. And on their way there, Ethan and Olivia kind of get into a fight in the car. And there was he was very much in a like overwhelmed, very emo state. Like, why is there so much stuff? Like, why is it always more stuff happening? Which like mood. Bro. I've been there many times.
I know. One of his quotes was, so much to do in such a short time. How do we even get ahead? And I was like, Ethan, honey, this is clinical depression. Like,
yes.
This is depression.
That 100% is, yes. And very relatable.
Yeah. We're there with you, bud.
They kind of start getting into a conversation about what makes a positive and successful life. And that's kind of what sparks this fight, because Ethan lists a lot of like monetary goals, like career goals, like things like that, and doesn't mention anything about Olivia or anything like that.
Relationships or like family.
Anything.
Which I mean, I get why he's not like gonna be like, oh yeah, I have a family. It's like, well, you're still pretty fucking traumatized from yours. So
a sore topic, yeah. I do get it. But I also understand why that hurt Olivia's feelings for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because if you would have asked Olivia the same question, I'm sure she, like, the first thing she would have said, or one of the first things she would have said was like, a good relationship with my husband and a family is what she would want.
Yeah, she would have been like stability both financially and emotionally.
Yeah, definitely. So that's kind of what sets them off into a mood before the thing. But thankfully it does get better.
It does. They get to Skate World in Tallahassee.
Yes. And I do appreciate this show, and I'm sure it's TLC pushing it, which I still appreciate, that they make such a point of showing that like they're wearing masks, and even if there's like nobody else there, I appreciate it. It makes me feel better.
Yeah, for real. All the roller skating was really cute.
It was.
They all had a really good time.
Really good. Yeah, Ethan and Olivia were like holding hands and skating together.
And they actually have a fucking breakthrough at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Ethan was finally in a good enough mood that Olivia was kind of like able to be like, hey, this isn't cool.
Yeah. And him being like, I don't know, distracted by doing something with his feet and hands, maybe. I don't know. He at one point says, I think I'm so used to not having fun that I forget that I want to do it. Then when I have fun, I'm like, why don't I do this every day? And I'm like, baby, clinical depression.
I swear to God, I was watching this and I was like, I feel like this is sad that I've never related more to Ethan in my life than in this episode. Mm-hmm. But I am also clinically depressed and I am on medication for it. So
yes, we have therapists.
Mm-hmm.
And medications.
Exactly. But it was nice to see them having fun together, and then also them able to talk. And Olivia basically told her like, it makes me feel really unloved when you're like not open with me and you won't talk to me about moving, and does make me feel like a priority. And Ethan says he promises to do better, so hopefully he will, but
not in these episodes.
Not in these maybe later.
Hopefully later. Yeah, I don't know. It was cute. I liked that they were all hanging out, having a nice time. And
same.
I also liked that Olivia kind of got a little gameplay in there, being like, look, if we lived in Tallahassee, we could do this more often.
Yeah. It's like you gotta, put those little, hints in while you can.
Be like, look, there's fun stuff to do here, too.
Yeah, like you can have fun and not be depressed all the time.
Yep. Just you in your car, crying. Both of you.
Yeah. Oh,
I get it.
Sad. I do get it. So then next up, Micah and Olivia are going to an animal shelter where Olivia is going to be taking pictures of Micah for a sexy photo shoot, calendar.
The hottie animal adoptee.
Yeah,
thing. For
the Humane Society, which I'm all about it, so whatever.
Hell yeah. It
was cute too to see him with all the little puppies, and I loved it.
God, it's so cute. Olivia in this part also said something really weird. Like she was given an option of the Bates boys to marry, because she said, I really like Micah, da-da-da-da-da. He's so much like me. Ethan has so much, he's resistant to change. And she says, I wouldn't have chosen Micah. I chose Ethan because he challenges me. And I was like,
yeah, that does kind of a weird way to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be fair to Olivia, she was definitely still drinking the Kool-Aid then, because of she was a kid. So she was maybe told what about them Plath boys?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, that is kind of weird a weird way to say it.
It was so weird, and I was like, ugh. I know she was kind of just trying to say, she loves Micah, but not in a way that she loves Ethan, but it was weird.
It's, good. That's good.
Yeah.
You don't need to say that stuff. That should just be,
yeah.
I'm glad they do have a relationship, though. It's nice, because,
yes.
I think both of them can use as many people in a similar situation to them as possible, close to them, because it must feel very lonely. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad they do have a relationship, and they definitely their personalities jive really well together. They're both very bright, energetic people.
Yeah, they both seem like people who would do okay in LA, which I would not.
Yeah, no, yeah, basically the opposite of me. So yeah, which respect for that, but
I literally think about living in LA and get tired. I need a nap. I just thought about it. Micah's cute. Micah's up there strapped with dogs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
what a cutie pie.
It turns out good. They do a good job, and it was another fun little thing to watch, which is good in a light-hearted little little piece of candy because the rest of it's all like so depressing.
Oh yeah, huge time. We get a little blip of Lydia talking about how she's having a battle between the flesh and the spirit over this boy.
Yeah, she says, I have a quote from her. Not communicating is like fasting. You can only do it for so long, and then you need to eat or you'll die. And I'm like, okay, true, I guess.
Yeah.
But...
Lydia, why do you know so much about fasting at 17?
That's disturbing to me. Okay, so the last part of this episode, Olivia goes over to Mariah's to hang out because they've been very close lately, which is a nice thing, I think. So they kind of get to talking about Mariah's singing and her music career, and she is working on booking a gig in Tallahassee, but doesn't want to do it as like a solo act. Wants some people with her, which I get, like
Reasonable.
less pressure.
Very
for
reasonable.
Sure. And so she kind of like is hinting at like, oh yeah, and Olivia's like, well, I play keyboard. I'll play keyboard with you. So, but like your fucking parents cannot be there. I don't know why I used an accent there.
It's okay. That's fair. Yeah, true. It was rough and hard, and I understand both sides of it. And I feel like they just shouldn't be in a band together. Yeah,
I agree. It's rough, but I think that this is only going to push Barry and Kim farther away and make them angrier and make them retaliate because that's how they respond to these kind of things, or that's what it seems like anyway. So yeah, I don't think it's the best idea, but
I probably would have just let him come. But if I knew Ethan was also going to be in the audience, I would be afraid that he would murder them. Like, that's I would probably ban Ethan before I banned the parents at this point for keeping the peace, not for like principles.
Yeah, I think I could understand being like, I don't want to talk to them.
Yeah.
Like after the show or whatever. Like I just kind of want to like go our separate ways or whatever. But like, yeah, I think I don't really know. Like I do understand the boundaries that she's trying to pull and like that it would be really hard for her to see them. But at the same, it's hard. I don't know. It's hard.
I know. I think Olivia could probably grit her teeth and get through it, but she like just barely said Ethan's name at one point, and I was like, yeah, if he were in the audience and his parents like sidled up to him, he would ruin the whole thing. Like,
yeah, that would
just
be bad.
Because he's so mad. You don't need to have this blowout at your sister's concert.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. Again, I think this shows Olivia's maturity that she kind of went ahead and was like, we need to talk about this now and get this out of the way and like come to a conclusion because like this is my boundary that I'm placing and I'm not willing to budge. And if you don't want me in the band, like that's cool and totally fine. And like, I wish you the best, but like, so, I mean, in that way, it was nice to see. Like, I feel like Olivia's therapist is incredible, whoever they are.
We did finally see her in episode 6.
Yeah. I wonder, I mean,
I don't know if it's the real one.
That's probably not like, I don't know. Maybe
like, it's her secondary therapist.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I'm always a little skeptical when they have a therapist on a TLC show. Like, is that really their therapist or is somebody just like reenacting a therapy session? Yes. Like maybe this like was genuinely discussed and talked about in therapy, but like, you know.
I don't think anybody's having a good therapy session in front of cameras with producers standing right there.
Does not seem very ethical to me, but
no.
I mean. So, are you ready to move on to the next episode?
I'm ready.
Let's do it. The next episode is called You Were the One That Changed.
God, the fucking... God. I just got goosies.
I know. It's too much. I can't.
It's the worst. Like, I understand it wholeheartedly from both sides, but it fucking sucks.
I know. That's the worst part, too, is that, like, all these people, like, well, with the exception of Kim and Barry, are, like, they're just very hurt people, and they're reasonable while they're hurt, and it's, like, hard to pick sides and it's hard.
Yeah, it's like they're not necessarily fighting well, but they aren't fighting dirty on the show.
Yeah, it's not like I don't feel like Ethan is like purposely trying to be like.
Yeah, he's just saying stuff, and then he's like, "Oh fuck."
But like, yeah, and I think these are all like important like realizations that he is coming to. Like, it's not like he's saying things to be mean It doesn't seem like that to me, at least.
But maybe use some of your car time to have these realizations so you
True.
can say them nicer to your wife.
Yes.
That's what we need.
That is true. Okay, so Max is picking Lydia up to help him pick out design the promise ring for Mariah that we've talked about many times before. I like that they're keeping Kim in the dark on this, which is good.
God, she's so mad. She's like, what is it? What are you doing? What is it? What are you doing?
I know, and she's like trying to be like, I'm fine if they want to keep it a surprise, but it's like, no, you're not fine. We can tell.
She has to know. Man, Max.
But on their way to the jewelry shop, they have like a little talk about Lydia's romance situation, and Max says that he and Lydia like regularly talk about this and other stuff, and I just think I don't know, they seem like they have a really like sweet relationship. Like he seems to genuinely care about her and want to know. I don't know, I like Max. That's all I guess. Like, I mean, we'll get into it, he has his faults in some ways, but like
I think he's a man.
Yeah, he's a man. I mean, you can only go so far, but like he's really he seems to genuinely care about Lydia and Mariah, and like be genuinely interested in their lives, which is nice to see.
Though then it is really funny when he is having these like really good conversations with Lydia, and then he has the bookend of where he's at the beginning when they get in the car. He's like, I'm getting her this promise ring so that I'm promising to always work things through with her and not break up with her again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
great. Cool.
Good job. You tried.
Yeah, he's trying at least.
The rings all are horrible. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. They're not going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it wasn't looking promising, but
We'll
feel
see.
like, yeah, we'll see. I feel like it's rare, I'd say, that like a 20-year-old guy who's not like interested, doesn't seem to be interested in like fashion or jewelry or anything like that. I think it would be pretty tricky for them to just like be able to pick out something that actually looked good. But like, I'm sure she'll still love it regardless.
I'm sure she'll love it. Yeah. But
like they do put a lot of thought into it too. Like they decide they want to use a jasper stone because Mariah's middle name is Jasper, and so kind of brings it all together, and they're getting I pinky promise engraved in it.
That is cute.
It is. I mean, it's like at least he's putting thought into it.
I know. I always have to remind myself that Mariah and Max are like 19. I'm like,
yeah,
they're teens. They're idiots. They're going to make out all the time in front of people. They're just being weird.
Yeah, that's just
hormone monsters.
What it's like at that age.
Yeah. Because every time I'm like, oh, why are you guys kissing so much at the dinner table? I'm like, oh, 19.
We've all been there.
I don't remember why, but at the very end of this segment, Lydia looks up into the camera with this like hardest of core go fuck yourself faces. And I can't remember what it was about, but I wrote it down because I was like, oh my God, Lydia's face. Because she just like looked up and was like, ugh. And it was so good.
I don't know what that could be about, but that's funny.
I'm going to have to rewatch it and figure it out.
So yeah, we go back. We kind of talk a little bit about Ethan and how he's kind of coping with things. And he says that this is really the first time that he's had to like truly face his emotions and like use them to like make life decisions, because he said that, quote, "We were never told to express our emotions as children. It was always just compartmentalizing and putting things away." And yeah, that seems true to me.
Yeah, when you can't have any emotions of your own because your parents are too emotionally unstable.
Yeah.
It'll fuck you up.
And so like not only is this situation just like naturally hard, but it's hard because he's not used to being able to process his emotions and like come to logical and helpful conclusions, you know?
Yeah.
So, ugh.
Yeah. He said he would do anything that he could to make his marriage work, which was good and nice, but God, that anything is doing a lot of work there.
Yeah. It seems like he seems to have hope for the relationship, but he's worried that it's too late and Olivia has kind of lost all hope.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Yeah, big bummer. Big bummer. So then we get into some more of the music stuff. Olivia goes to Micah and Mariah's to practice Mariah's songs since Mariah booked her first gig.
Yeah. Mariah said something that she's like, I'm really proud of myself because I wrote these songs in the closet with my loneliness and now I'm going to perform them. And I was like, damn.
Yeah. Go Mariah. Like, that's cool. That's awesome.
She's doing lots of emotional growth, man. She needs to, like, slap something into Ethan.
Yeah, for real. For real.
Be like, get out of the mad phase. We'll start processing this.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, she plans on telling her parents that they can't come eventually because of Olivia. And says she's worried about it, but she understands where Olivia's coming from and is going to stand by her. So, yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I get it. Again, Mariah being one of the most mature people on the show.
Mm-hmm. Not at all what you would expect from like the first season of the show. I remember even just like the previews for the show, the whole thing was like, oh, Mariah's like the problem child. And it's like, no, she's just like outspoken and has a mind of her own and like opinions that are completely valid and logical. So like,
she wants to be herself.
Only a problem if you're trying to, suppress your children. So
yes. Yeah, just let your kids be who they want to be and they won't, hopefully, disown you at 18.
That's the goal. That would be one of my main goals. Like, get them to survive and be as healthy and happy as they possibly can be and not completely hate me. That is my goal.
Yeah, do a pretty good job.
So then Ethan and Micah are going to go golfing.
Oh, God.
And which is good that they're getting some brother time. But then they go to the golfing place and found out that they don't rent clubs. And the only person they know who has clubs is Barry. And so Micah reaches out and they agree to let them use Barry's club and also agree to let them bring Isaac with them, which is a good, nice thing to do. But they, of course, have to go pick them up because there has to be something.
They've got to come to the front door.
Yeah. Like, I don't understand why. See, like, this is where they could just be easy about it and say, sure, we'll have Isaac meet you outside. Like, it's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Like, they're still coming to your house. You guys are still compromising here. You don't need to have a power play every time you're trying to have an interpersonal relationship.
Right. So Ethan understandably gets like very upset about this and does a whole like, oh, we're turning around. But then, Micah kind of talks some sense into him and is like, listen, I'll just go in. You wait in the car. I'll go in.
She didn't say we both had to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hell yeah, Micah. Yeah.
And so he does that. He goes in real quick and grabs them. And I think that they were kind of surprised, which like, I don't know why they would be surprised. Like,
I don't know. maybe usually like the TLC crew comes in first or something. So they're prepared for the throwdown.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, they just get them and leave. Get them and leave.
It didn't go good. It didn't go good. Because Micah said that when he went in there, Kim was like, where's Ethan, blah, blah, blah. And Micah said, if you don't let Isaac go with us right now, you're pushing Ethan away, blah, blah, blah. Like, it was fucked up.
Yeah, it was like a confrontation type thing. Like, you just need to get over this and let it happen because otherwise, like,
you're going to lose all your children.
Yeah. So, wow.
Poor sweet Isaac being like, I just want to get the family back together.
Isaac probably just wants to be around some like guys for once. I mean, it's
just him and Barry now.
Just him and Barry and all of his little sisters and Kim. Like, I can't imagine that being a very fun environment to live in.
No.
So I was glad to see that they got to have some brother time, and they did have fun on the golf course, which was good.
They did. And Ethan did make a ball joke, which was very, I'm like, yes.
It's
Get
good
free,
to see.
Sir.
Yes. In honor of Ethan making a ball joke, that's why we're doing this for episode 69.
Yes.
Just a slight little,
I'm not going to title it episode 69, Ethan's 2 balls, but just know it's in my heart.
That is the title in our hearts for sure. Yeah, they say this is the first time that all three of them have hung out in 4 years. Which, how old is Isaac? He's like 13, 14, something like that?
I think he's 15 now because he got to go learn to fly.
Oh, right. Yeah, he's 15. So he hasn't hung out with his brother since he was 11. He spent his entire adolescence just like alone. Not really, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, but
like
kind
without
of.
brothers. Yeah. Like fuck. Anyway.
Damn, that's been a long time. Yeah, I guess we've had 3 seasons of this. And they were
Mhm.
married for a year before the first season.
Yeah.
God, and they weren't letting them see the boys even when they were playing nice. Fuck Kim and Barry.
For real. Speaking of them, Kim goes over to Mariah's house. And this is like really the first time that she's been over for more than just to like drop something off. So Mariah gives her like an official tour of everything. And I don't know. I feel like Kim always had like little comments to say, like, you know how she is.
Yeah, she was just nitpicking, but. And then Kim made a pregnancy joke at Mariah.
Yeah.
Which...
Oh, because I think she said something about she called Max her baby or something, which like it's a normal thing to like refer to your significant other as a baby. And she's like, "Oh, you're pregnant?" And it's like, "Oh my God, Kim."
No, Kim, shut the fuck up.
So they kind of get on the topic of the band a little bit, and Mariah tells her that Micah's in the band and that they're working on getting a show together. And she very like Kim's asking about like if there's other people in the band, and Mariah's like, "Yeah, there's one other person in the band."
They play keyboard.
On the keyboard. And Kim was like, oh, okay. And then she was like, yeah, I'm not dumb. I know it's Olivia.
yeah, I know. Mariah, you think you're sneaky, but you're not. But you have a good heart, but...
yeah. You're not
sneaky.
Yeah, it's funny. It was kind of funny.
It was, and I was just like, fuck, Kim's gonna crash that shit.
Yeah, and Kim asks Mariah if she could come, and Mariah just kind of like avoids answering.
So then we get back to Ethan and Olivia's house, where Olivia is packing, because she packs when she feels stuck and frustrated, and he goes to work on cars.
Right.
She confronts him with, "Are you good with moving? Because you don't seem very good with moving." And he just goes, "Oh." Like,
it's like,
bud.
You need to, this is where you need to speak up. And he does say some stuff. He talks about, and I think his concerns are valid, because Olivia wants them to live in an apartment for a year while they kind of make final decisions on like buying a house, where they want to buy it and all that kind of stuff, which is fair. But Ethan, likes to work a lot on his cars and do like other, odd jobs. And there's not really a lot of workspace when you live in an apartment. And also he's just really not set on living in Tallahassee. He works there and he doesn't like it, and he wants to live in a more rural setting, whereas Olivia would actually rather live in a bigger city than Tallahassee. So
yeah, Olivia wants to go to LA.
Right.
Which again reminds me she's 22.
Yep. Yeah, every 22-year-old like Olivia wants to go to LA.
Yep.
But yeah, Olivia, like Ethan is like, I feel like you're not compromising, and then Olivia's like, but Tallahassee is my compromise. Like, so it's like, it's just a mess.
Yeah, he says, "You've completely changed from who you were when I married you, and I've had to make changes to accommodate your changes." And it's like, I get that. But also, when you get married that young, that's kind of what comes with the territory. You've got to either like flow together or split off.
I think it's interesting. So I'm 29 now. So like looking back at my 20s, like 20 to 25 was so different than 25 to 29. You know what I mean? In terms of like, I am the same person essentially I was when I was 25. I mean, not really, but like,
yeah,
essentially.
You kind of like solidified, like crystallized who you are in your brain.
Exactly. But like before that, it was like constant like change. It's just like, that's just naturally, your life is changing so quickly, your circumstances of life are changing, and your brain is still developing. So
July that I turned 23, I started immediately understanding the "Nobody Likes You When You're 23" song, because I was the fucking worst. Like, now that I look back on it, I'm like, oh, I hate past me just a little bit. Like, she just made some really questionable choices.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's, part of being in your early 20s, which, like we said, is, like, fine, but it's a lot harder to do when you're married and you have to, like, you're bound to each other, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough. And Olivia says she feels like they're growing apart, and which is really sad. And Ethan just says that he's really worried, like, if they're already having this many problems about like moving like so like doing such a close, simple move. Like, where is this problem going to lead them in the future? Which is where you really need to be looking, you know?
Yeah. Olivia asks if I've changed and you can't accept it. Is this where it ends?
Yeah.
That's
which,
really the crux of the fucking matter.
Fucking stab to the heart. But
Yeah, I got goosies again.
I know. It's like, it's so hard. And it's just really hard. It's really hard to watch two people who seem to genuinely love each other and want the relationship to work and want to like have a happy life with that other person. Like, it's so sad to see them just like not be able to get to a point where they can like agree on things. It's sad.
Yep. And it's like, it's so fucked up for me too, because like, I know the responsibility for your emotions and your reactions do eventually land on your own shoulders, but like, Ethan's been fucking traumatized for like 18 years and he's just been wrung out to dry, basically. I mean, he's the second oldest kid, right? It was Josanna and him.
Yeah, he's either the oldest or second oldest. He's the oldest boy for sure.
But like, that means that he was probably around and cognizant for the death of his little brother, for not being able to deal with that grief. Like, holy shit.
Well, and then I think he's still, even though he's removed from that situation, he's still struggling with the fact that his younger siblings are still in that situation and there's nothing he can do as their older brother to protect them. And I think that that's really, really getting him down too.
Yeah, so and why he doesn't want to leave, because he feels like he has to protect them.
Which I get. I mean, I feel like it's shitty that he feels like that because it's not his job, but like, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, he got parentified by Kim and Barry, so he's going to feel like their parent.
Yeah, that's what they said about Lydia. Like, her and Ethan have a really close relationship because she like almost views Ethan as a father figure because Barry was not a father figure to her. No. So it's all so fucked up.
Yeah, it's so fucked up, and I just want to punch Kim and Barry because Ethan and Olivia could have had a nice little relationship. They didn't have to get married. They could have had a nice little relationship and had a nice early 20s together and lived together and whatever, figured shit out about themselves and not having to deal with like divorce and buying a house and kids and other, fuck.
Yeah, fuck it. Fuck you, Kim and Barry. That's all we have to say.
Yeah. Fuck you, Kim and Barry.
All right, so the last episode that we're going to be covering for today is episode 6. Is this a date?
Is it? Is this a date right now?
Is this a date? Oh,
are we on a date?
We did touch via iPad earlier, so yes, I think we are.
Hell yeah, guys, we're on a date.
Oh my god. So we're still on the golfing kick, I guess. Barry goes golfing with Micah and Isaac because I guess they have been in a golfing mood, or maybe Barry just wants in on it.
Yeah, he just has to do what Ethan does because he's the dad. He should be teaching his sons how to golf.
That is how it felt too. Like Barry put it off as like, oh, there's been a lot of golfing going around, and it's like, I think you just were like, oh, Ethan took you golfing. No, that won't stand.
He doesn't even have his own clubs.
So, and it's just like, it was really annoying. I think he like really wanted a pat on the back for like letting Isaac go with them, and it's like, wow, you let one of your sons hang out with your other sons. Like, great.
Congrats. That's still like a 55% on that paper.
Right. It's just I hate Barry so much.
He makes my skin crawl because he's like, Kim, I can kind of understand because she's just like emotional and just trying to make your emotions fit her emotions.
I want to punch Kim.
Oh yeah.
But I am like creeped out by Barry.
Yeah, I don't want Barry to know where I live. Like,
yeah, like they both feel like very nefarious, but like in different ways. And Barry threatens me more. Like, I am more viscerally scared of Barry.
Yeah, because Kim, at the end of the day, I think she just got like so fucked up that she needed to control all of her children's lives so that they never experience pain in any way, even though she's the pain. But
she's the ultimate pain.
I don't know, she's a lot. But Barry, man, it just feels like he just really jumped at the chance to be the patriarch.
Yeah.
To be King Daddy. I don't know.
No thanks.
King Daddy would be a good band name. Is there a King Daddy already?
I don't know, but I like that. next up in this episode, we go to the therapy appointment that we were talking about earlier, which is it a real therapy appointment? I don't really know.
It was very religious.
It was, yes. She talks about growing up in Christianity, or I guess there's such a stigma around mental health, which there is in general, but like especially in that community.
Like the Duggars never go to get therapy. You just have to pray more.
That's what she said. Like she was always just told to pray about it and it would just go away. But like that is
God's
not
a therapist. God can't prescribe.
I know, really. God does not have like a valid license, so he can't. Sorry.
I know. Sorry, I can't walk into my pharmacy for my Zoloft and be like, God prescribed it.
God said I could have it.
I prayed on it. Fuck.
So, the focus a lot on Ethan and the move, of course. Mm-hmm. And Olivia said that Ethan told her that if he would have known that she was going to change the way that she did, he wouldn't have married her. Which, oof.
Yeah, I can understand that statement, but man, it's not going to be received by either party well.
If my husband said that to me, like, I would be so devastated. Yeah, that would be... I
don't know who would die, me or him, but one of us
Someone would die.
Like, holy shit. Like, if I knew you were going to be like this.
I wouldn't have married. It's like, goddamn. Oof. Yeah, thankfully the therapist just like kind of flat out is like, this is not a healthy relationship.
I know, she's like, this doesn't sound like a healthy relationship. And I'm like, good job.
Thank you for just plainly saying it.
Thank you, TLC therapist.
Yes. But yeah, Olivia is obviously like just really torn with what to do, which is understandable. It's not a great situation to be in, but
yeah. And I think we get a little kind of background on Olivia, which we never get. That she's like, I watched my mom give up everything for my dad. She, was a traditional housewife. Her entire life changed. And once all the kids moved out, her life was different and could be better. And like, yep, that's fucking real in fundamentalist circles. Like, you can't get out. You don't have your own bank account. You don't have your own opinions.
Yeah, it's bad.
But yeah, break that cycle, Olivia. Yeah. Get out.
Let's do it. Yes. Which, I mean, she's doing a good job of like really, trying to work on herself and getting rid of these like any type of toxic thought that might still be, implanted in that brain, working to get it out.
Yeah.
But I think it's really telling too that like her and Ethan didn't just like jump right into like having kids and doing the like what they're quote unquote supposed to do, because that's not not good in these situations.
Yeah, so. I mean, she did say that she had a miscarriage right at the beginning, which
but it wasn't because they were trying to have kids. It seemed like she said she went off birth control because of health reasons, and then it kind of just happened, and they realized they weren't ready for it. So yeah.
So we get kind of to the end of this therapist appointment, and the therapist says, what would be the one thing that you could change between you two? And she just says, I just want to be accepted. And the therapist says, well, what would happen if you said that to him? And she said, he would just say that he can't. Like, he can't accept her. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. It's like, then what do you do at that point? Like, there's nothing like, it's
you can't unchange.
Right. And it's not like, it's
no good option.
No good option. So then next up, Micah. Was it who? No, I always say Micah, but I mean Max. There's too many M's in there. It was like, why are Micah and Mariah going to get smoothies? But that okay. Max and Mariah go on
if it helps. I wrote down Max and Olivia.
Damn, Max and Olivia are dating now? Fucking scandalous.
It got wild. But yeah, Max and Mariah.
I'm pretty sure it was Max and Mariah. They're on like a little, I think, smoothie date when they go to this place all the time, and they play a little game where they get to like ask any question and they have to like answer it honestly, which I mean is good. Like open communication is good. So
yeah, if you gotta turn it into truth or truth, that's fine.
Exactly. Whatever. So Mariah asks if he would homeschool his kids in the future, which is a good question. And he kind of like, I don't know, he kind of like skirted around the answer.
Yeah, he kind of waffled that like he thinks that homeschooling can be good, but older kids should be in public school or like with social situations, which
true.
Fair.
Yeah. I mean, he seemed to at least be open to like not homeschooling kids, which I think
Yeah.
is really what Mariah was trying to get at, because Mariah
Yeah.
basically was like, I feel very strongly about this, and I do not want to homeschool my kids because I feel like I missed out on so much. And I'm sure she did, and I'm sure she feels that way because like she had to stay home with her siblings and didn't get to do like any of the fun school
She
stuff.
probably didn't like meet people until she was 15.
Yeah, she didn't even know other people had different accents, apparently. So, yeah, it's just, I don't blame her at all. So,
yeah, no, and it makes sense. And hey, I think mostly it's just that Max hadn't really considered that far yet. Honestly, that's what his answer. He's like, I think it's fine, but like,
yeah, I think that's probably definitely
not.
true. Which, I mean, I wouldn't expect like a 20-year-old guy to like have that figured out.
No, I wouldn't expect most 20-year-olds to have that figured out. I think the only reason Mariah does is because she sees how it fucked her up.
Right. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, they kind of talk about kids a little bit, and they both agree that like 4 is an ideal number, and Mariah wants to maybe adopt, and yeah.
I love that she said, we can't just have an only child. My mom's an only child.
Yes. It's like, oh,
yep.
Enough said. Enough said.
Yeah, you have 2 kids if you want, man.
Yeah. So then we get into a little bit more of a touchy subject with Max's question, which isn't even really a question. It was just like a topic, which is Mariah's clothes. And Max says that it makes him uncomfortable because he feels like she does it to get other guys' attention, and he doesn't like that, and it makes him insecure. And then Mariah flips it around and is like, I get what you're saying, but I don't give a fuck about other guys. Like, I am doing this for myself.
Yeah, I go to the gym a lot. I want to show off my body. I want to wear fashion, and I don't give a fuck about other men.
Well, and then she goes in and is like, my whole life have been told that I can't do this, and that I've had to like stifle who I am as a person, and this is the first time in my life that I've been able to express myself how I want to. I'm doing it for myself. I'm not doing it for other people. And this is just you being insecure. This has nothing to do with me. Yeah,
this is you being a 19-year-old boy.
When this came up, I was like, oh no, Max, don't do this. And I do understand, like, I mean, I don't know. I do understand what he's saying in like a way. Like, it's valid for him to feel uncomfortable and like have those acknowledge that.
But you got to get over the fact that that's not your girlfriend's problem. That's the dude's problem, is because they are encroaching upon your girlfriend who is just dressing how she wants to dress.
Yeah, it's like I'm so over, like, you don't need to change. The behavior that is wrong in this situation is the guy's behavior and how they, so that's the thing that needs to change, and not how the girl dresses.
And Mariah touched on it too. She was like, I could be wearing sweatpants and guys will come up and hit on me. And
Which
it's
is
like, yep.
Probably true. Yes.
Yeah. He did say at one point, so Mariah gets in some of the best like zingers that aren't really meant to be zingers. But so he says, well, I feel like there's a healthy balance that we could address and get to about her being slutty versus not slutty. And she said, no wonder mom and dad like you.
Yep. I was like, I was like, ooh. Yeah. But yeah, she also says, it's not our job to make sure that men can control their emotions, which, yes, fucking preach.
That's true.
And
it's true,
I'm glad that Mariah was very like firm in what she said, and she was very rational, made a ton of sense, and Max really seemed to understand and be like, oh, I never thought about it like that. I never thought about like this being something you do for yourself. And I really think that a lot of men are like that too.
Yeah.
Because like I remember I used, which before COVID, I used to go get my nails done all the time, and I love having my nails done. Like, I just love how it feels. I love picking out the colors. It's something I do for like, it's a self-care thing for myself.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad one time made a joke like, guys, like, this was before I met Kyler, and he's like, guys don't care if you're wearing nail polish. And I was like, I could not care less about what guys think. And it's just like that type of thought process is like so prevalent in guys.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's like, it's not always about you.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. It's the same thing when Chris and I met. He said something about like, about wearing makeup to look attractive to dudes. And I was like, nah, dude.
Nah.
Half the time I just want to paint my eyelids pink.
It's just fun. Makeup is just fucking fun, okay?
Yeah.
Let me
Do
live.
I want to look like a princess goth mermaid? Yes.
Maybe, but that's for me, not for you.
Yeah. I'm the mermaid here.
So yeah, I don't know, I just thought this was a good productive conversation. It seemed like they both came to an agreement at the end, and Max doesn't seem to be as bothered by it, and I'm glad that he wasn't like, you need to stop wearing this or I'm not going out with you anymore, because
yeah,
some guys are like that. So
now he's just gonna give all those dudes walking up to her the big stank eye.
Which, good. Do that. You can do that completely.
Yeah. That's what your role is as cis man in society, is fight other cis men if you need to.
Exactly. Okay, so Isaac, he's 15, and he is doing one of the traditional fundy, I don't even know, rites of passage. I don't know. He's taking lessons to get his pilot's license.
He seemed to do pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm glad no one died.
Like he seems like a very intelligent young man, and he's had the flight simulator, so you'd think he's probably had a lot of practice there. And I mean, I'm sure it's not the same, but it can't hurt.
Yeah, I mean, they make real pilots do flight simulators, so
right. Yeah, it's obviously like it's a legit form of practice.
Yeah, it's a good learning tool that doesn't require 10 gallons of fuel an hour.
That is convenient. That is for sure. This part pissed me off so much. Kim and Barry were kind of just talking about Isaac and how he's always been into planes and stuff like that. But then Kim says, I don't even know exactly what this was in reference to, but she said, our job as parents is to make them ready to be able to fly solo. And I wanted to be like, well, Kim, you fucking failed, like, time and time again. Because don't some of their kids not even have, like, birth certificates or social security numbers?
Yeah,
or something?
Some of them had to get registered to get paid for TLC. So
yeah,
I think
like
that, the youngest bunch or something, I can't remember which ones, but yeah.
That alone is like, okay. But then, like, remember that scene with Micah and Mariah where they, like, met and were, like, confronting them, and we're like, we had to, like, completely get our GEDs. We had to, like, learn how to do all this technology stuff. We've had to, like, learn all of this stuff ourselves since we've moved out because you guys haven't done it. So
yep,
you're not doing a great job with this, Kim.
You failed, Kim. You failed. Thanks for trying.
And I also hated how Barry had to be, like, a dick and be like, and just constantly talk about how expensive it was. I understand, wanting to make sure your kid is grateful for something and, like, letting them know, but, like,
what the fuck else is he spending money on? Like,
yeah,
Isaac.
And also, like, I don't know, Isaac doesn't seem to be, like, a really, like, disrespectful, unappreciative kid. Like, I'm sure he was fucking stoked as hell to do this and is really excited to do it. You don't have to be an asshole and be like, oh, I'm spending so much money on this.
Just remember how much money I spent on you when you say I don't love you.
Yeah, it's like, oh, great.
Love it. If you buy stuff, then they can't say that you don't love them.
But yeah, Isaac did good, and he said it felt like it felt so good to be free on the first time, and it was, like, really sweet.
That little bird, go fly away, little bird.
Fly away, fly far, far away.
Be free. Okay. So our next bit is Micah going on a date. Is it a date? With Helena.
They're going to play tennis and have a picnic in the park.
Yeah. Again, very sweet, very cute. Glad that these people are having some light and joy in their lives, because Jesus Christ, it seemed pretty dark sometimes. Yeah,
for sure. It was cute. Mike had never played tennis before, so he was, like, really bad, but it was cute to watch.
He definitely thought he was going to be better than he was.
Yeah. He's the type of person, I think, that, like, is just naturally able to pick up things very easily. And so when they can't, they're probably like, I don't know. But at least he wasn't like, at least he wasn't, like, angry about it, because I feel like some people get, like, really upset and defensive, but he was just like having fun with it, so it was all good.
Yeah, I am one of those people who is often very good at things like crafts and other, like, endeavors of that variety, and so when I can't do them, I cry. I do so much crying.
I don't have a lot of patience, so when it comes to, like, learning new skills, like, I just don't even try most of the time.
Yeah, I cried over those fucking pom-pom spiders that you get, like, the kit with the tissue paper and you turn them into pom-poms and put the legs on them. I couldn't figure out how to do it without ripping the paper, and this was 2017, and I just sat there and cried onto them. was just like, I'm an idiot. I can never figure out anything. How do I even breathe?
I've definitely been there before.
So I get it. Micah's a much better sport about it than I am.
Yes. So after they play tennis, they have a little picnic and get kind of caught up on each other's lives. Micah tells them about Mariah's promise ring and a little bit about Ethan and Olivia's issues.
I'm glad Micah has somebody outside of the family
to talk to and vent to, for sure. And Micah actually says that he's learning a lot about relationships through Ethan and Olivia, which is good. Like, I mean, it's probably kind of like a cautionary tale of sorts.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but at least he's like paying attention and, learning from it.
Yeah. Yeah, especially because they're not gonna, like, even if they do end up not together at the end, they're not gonna, like, go super nuclear.
Yeah, it's not like this is like a really ugly
divorce. It's an ugly divorce, but not
but for not it's hard to
an ugly situation. They're not being cruel to each other intentionally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which I guess let's move right into that. So Olivia and Ethan arranged to meet at a rose garden to kind of have a dedicated time to sit down and talk to each other and try to get somewhere.
And Olivia basically knows after the therapy appointment that this is when she's going to have to say, hey, I've changed. Can you accept me? And so she basically can't get out of her car about it.
Yeah, she's like having a little anxiety moment, and she's crying, and she's realizing that like this could be the conversation.
Yeah.
Right. And so they kind of decide, maybe let's not do this here and now, maybe not on camera for everyone to see. And so they decide to just go home, and then a little like thing came up that was like they asked not to be recorded, but they will be interviewed about it, which that made me very happy to see. I was glad that they were like, let's have this conversation, just us, and then we can, really think about it before we talk about it.
Yeah. It also made me feel really good about kind of the show in general, that the producers, one of the producers went and like talked to her on a bench and was like, we can do this, we can do that, whatever. Like, it seems like they actually aren't just there for exploiting them as much as
right. Yeah, they're not just trying to get like the good shit for TV. They genuinely seem to care about the people that they're working with.
Yeah, they aren't gonna intentionally ruin Ethan and Olivia's relationship.
They do an interview about the conversation that they had, and they decided that Olivia is going to take some space from the relationship and give him some space to kind of figure out what he wants, and she's gonna move in with a friend for a little bit, I guess, while they kind of figure out next steps.
Yep. He says that he feels like he's worked so hard to give them a good life at 22 and it just wasn't good enough. And she's like, dude, it's not about the stable living. Like, we've got to deal with your anger and depression with your parents and process that shit. And she's like, he wanted this house and those cars and this lifestyle and wants all the stuff. And she doesn't. She wants to move on, move away, move out.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the more that they are like closer to their previous lives, like geographically, and I guess like how they were, I think it just makes her uncomfortable to be that still close and tied to that previous life.
It's like just living in a place where you get to see your abusers every day, possibly.
Right. Yeah.
Which is fucked.
Completely. They kind of just seem to be like at an impasse, at least right now, where Ethan says he feels like he's compromised a lot and doesn't really know what more he can do without like completely compromising what he wants. But yeah, I like their hopes. Olivia says that, she still hopes that they'll get back together, and she's not like putting the towel in completely, but it just seems like at least as of right now, there's like nowhere for them to move while they're together, and they need some space.
Yeah, because he hasn't figured out if he even wants to move. She knows she wants to move, so
yeah, it's just Yeah, it's just a really shitty situation.
Mm-hmm.
And like we've talked about, like I feel like both sides are valid, and it's hard. It might just like it's hard to accept that it might just be a matter of like it's over. Like if they just gotta call it what it is.
Yep.
Which is really sad because like I've been rooting for them so hard. I want them to work out.
I know, and like I want them to work out, but at the same point in time, like if they just hadn't gotten married, like hadn't had to get married,
yeah,
this would have been a reasonable time. You're 22, you have a breakup.
Yeah,
after college,
definitely.
you break up, you have shit happen. You go and have some weird years where you date weird people, and then you finally find someone to settle down with.
Exactly. Like that's a completely normal experience, and it's fucked up that it's just like 100 times more complicated because they basically were forced to get married and forced into this, like
before they even really knew each other, before they knew how to be adults by themselves. It sucks.
Right. Yeah, it does. But I think that wraps it up for this episode. We will continue next week with some more Plath stuff. But if you have anything to say about this episode or any of our other episodes, or if you have anything you would like to suggest for us to watch in the future, you can send us an email at tvliterate@gmail.com.
And you can find us all over the internet at TV Literate. We're on Tumblr, Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're everywhere if you need to find us and send us some gossip or tea or anything. You know where to find us.
We want it.
And speaking of tea,
Yeah.
we have a Ko-fi account, ko-fi.com/TV Literate, if you want to give us a buck to help us with our hosting or anything. If you just like listening to us, we like $1.
We would really appreciate that. We also would appreciate any reviews if you have time to leave one, or if you want to recommend us to any of your friends, that would be great too. And we will see you next week with another episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.